Napa Cab, what a absurd amount of frustration behind this genre of wine for us personally. You know, you think as wine merchants based in California that, you know, we'd make our living off of Napa Cabernet, but Napa doesn't want that to happen necessarily. So we're kind of stuck, you know, kind of digging, you know, because I forget one time I looked at one of like the Jeb Dunnick articles or Glony or whatever it was, and like 85% of the wines that were over 95 points, we couldn't even buy. They were all direct from the winery, direct to consumer, wine lists only, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Point is, Napa makes a bunch of Jillian point wines, but I had no idea what they taste like. I know it sounds weird, being a wine merchant and 8,000 wines a year, blah, 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 blah. I have no idea what 70% of the wines, 80% of the wines in Napa Valley taste like anymore. Isn't that a shame? Doesn't that kind of suck? Well, the ones we do know what they taste like, we're very picky about and very diligent in our sourcing. And you know, on the good side of all that Napa nonsense is the fact that Napa is making the best wines they've ever made. You have a group of winemaking talent. You have great knowledge of the vineyards now. You have all this clonal selection dialed in. And while there is some, call it sameness, you know, in the center of the valley, the overall quality level is quite high. We just wish the wines weren't all $200 a bottle. That's a problem, right? So we're hunting for you. So on our hunt, we went big game hunting and we found this beauty. 21 Turnbull Cabernet Sauvignon Napa Valley. Now, Wine Exchange, we have a long history with Turnbull. I think Steve sold the first vintages. First vintage is 79. At least if he didn't, he sold the 80 or 81, right? So the old Johnson Turnbull days. And all the way up from then until now, we've had a good relationship with Turnbull and have always appreciated what they've done as they've reinvented themselves a couple times over the years. Now, current winemaker Peter Heitz has been there for quite some time. There's a definite house style here. That house style is big wines, it's bold wines, it's powerful wines, exuberant wines, big color, big richness, with a modicum of elegance to them, right? So these wines are sizable, but they're not over the top in any way. And a part of that has to do with their sourcing. It's all estate, all estate vineyards here. And you know, they make a bunch of fancy single vineyard wines. They make their Black Label, the Leopoldina, the Fortuna, etc. A lot of these wines get 98, 100 points even. But they also have some property in Calistoga. And their property in Calistoga is this wonderful secret weapon property that forms the core of their 21 base Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon. That property is the Aminus vineyard, if I'm saying it properly, and it makes up about 70% of the blend in this wine, with the balance being those aforementioned vineyards, Leopoldina, Fortuna, Turnbull Home Vineyard, etc. And he's really got it dialed in now. Yeah, this is impressive stuff. And you know, the funny thing was the Turnbull Napa Cabernets, you know, they may hate me for saying this, but some of them weren't quite as compelling in the past, you know, and I think this 21 like turned a corner. This is super, super exquisite Cabernet Sauvignon from Peter. He's just really dialed in with this wine. Might have something to do with the vintage, right? Maybe the best vintage since 16, 13, you know, that level of vintage here. Really, really exquisite year for these wines. Textbook 21. You have richness in the palate, super engaging dark black fruit, but you do have a vibrancy, you have a hum. You know, I have a bigger issue with the vineyards that are a bit softer and too easy, right? Like 12 felt easy to me, and some of these years can feel a bit easy. This one has some verticality to it. There's this, makes you salivate. There's some good acidity here, but not pokey acidity. It's acidity that frames all this really rich, dark, rambunctious, really intense fruit character in the wines. And frankly, it's an absolute joy to drink right now, but I do think this wine will age beautifully midterm. And you know, the funny thing is this wine's a bit closer in quality to their single vineyard offerings and their reserve offering than some of the Turnbull Napa cabs have been in the past. What a wine. You know, I think there's a reason why Jeb Dunnick made it his, you know, we did the research, we crunched the numbers. It's his top scoring wine under $50 from Napa in the 2021 vintage, at least that we can tell, that we can see, and we're pretty persnickety with that. So if you want One of the best deals in Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon, bar none. This is the one. We've done the work for you. I mean, there's others, of course, but if you want technically the best one, the Turnbull 21 Napa Cabernet Sauvignon Estate is for you. Exquisite wine, exquisite price. Kudos to the Turnbull gang.